Admiral Stavridis, I'm not going to drop the mic, but I'm going to have to move it, sir. And I'm going to get this out here right now. There we go. To the brigade, you're the greatest student body on the planet. These young men and women are the best and brightest that our nation has to offer. Let's give these young leaders a round of applause. But as a midshipman who thinks like one, I know what you're thinking. I'm your fourth speaker this afternoon and standing between dinner and weekend activities, but y'all gonna still have to listen to me. My remarks will focus on three principles, which are gratitude, giving back, and resilience. And I wouldn't be a Naval Academy graduate without having a formula to share, which is F cubed equals R, or F times F times F equals R. But I'll get to that when I close. You'll need that to be an effective warfighter and in life. Now, I know my classmates are astonished that a 2.0 student, I came up with a formula okay, it was 2.3. I had to have a little gravy, guys, come on. But I know my classmates and some of you in the front row that I came up with a formula on my own. Always be grateful and thankful for what you have and demonstrate a grateful spirit. And in keeping with that principle, I'd like to thank Vice Admiral Buck, Admiral Ferguson, Jeff Webb, Admiral Harry Harris and the DGA Selection Committee for selecting me. But also, I'd like to thank Ms. Zan McConnell and the protocol team and Wes Huey, who made a lot of this possible, all the seating and the way that you helped me. Thank you so much. You've heard it. That's that gratitude part. Remember, I'm talking in threes. You've heard it before, but I'm profoundly humbled to be standing before you today. There are no words to express what I'm feeling right now, and it's emotional, and that's why I'm reading so I can stay focused. To the great class of 1977, thank you for nominating me. 77 is the greatest class that ever graduated from the Naval Academy, but I'm biased. We have 4-star admirals. You've heard some of the lists before. We've got a Blue Angel, we've got PhDs, astronauts, doctors, lawyers, very successful businessmen in our class. But several years ago, in keeping with some of the things that General Williams was talking about, something else is not known about the class of 77 is that CNO Zumwalt, Hayward, and Holloway had a vision. And that vision was we needed a more diverse officer corps to more reflect our enlisted population, and we didn't have it at that time. And the class of 1977 was the first class in the era of diversity where 125 African-American midshipmen entered the Naval Academy. 62 of us graduated. And I'm so glad to be the first DGA in our class. So for you 2.0 students, if you work 45 years, you too can be number one. One of the strongest bonds in your life and source of encouragement will be your classmates. I'm often asked by midshipmen how I made it through the academy. My quick answer is get a really smart roommate with a girlfriend who has a car. That's a true statement. My roommate, Bill Millward, helped solve my differential equations upside down while looking across her desk, and Jane used to pick us up on weekends and take us to Burger King. When I was assigned to Joint Forces Command in Suffolk, Virginia, Jerry Miller always managed to meet me for lunch despite his busy schedule. And I'm mentioning some of these folks because that's who you need to emulate. You have to emulate them for this long line to continue, this long blue line to continue. I'm blessed to have classmates like Captain Charles Ivy and his wife, Dr. Frances Ivy, who are steadfast friends and who have supported me. They have extended their love and support to my children and now my grandchildren. I have Rob Earhart here from my first ship, the USS Dale, that drove up from Florida. But these are just examples of how classmates, shipmates, and lifelong friends become a powerful influence and anchor in your life to provide that key element of resilience. I'm thankful for so many mentors and sterling examples of honor, courage, and commitment, to include those on stage. And my mentor, Admiral Mike Mullen, he's a class of '68. He was the 17th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the 28th Chief of Naval Operations, and he's guided my careers and that of others for many years. Thank you, Admiral. Thank you, sir, for being here. Admirals Paul Reason, Bob Natter, and Tom Lynch are key mentors who inspired me. Byron Marchant brilliantly led our Alumni Association for 13 years and was a visionary. Vice Admiral John Cotton and Rear Admiral Sonny Masso guided my Navy Reserve career. But my best mentor is Lieutenant John Rex Spivey. In fact, there you are, John, right there, out of the class of 13, okay? Come on now. I'm sorry, I think like a midshipman, I gotta keep it real, and I got the mic too. But he's from Arkansas. He taught me about generational leadership. All the other officers I talked about were from the 60s, okay? They preceded me. They provided an example. But as I've gotten older, more senior, I needed someone to get me in touch with the junior officers, what was going on with that, so I could become a more effective leader, okay? So I could become and that's something that you will have to do throughout your careers as well. John Rex demonstrated honor, courage, and commitment in 2020 during time of national turmoil in our nation and in our Alumni Association. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention my NetApp family that's here, that's led by Vice President Michelle Rudnicki. And thanks for allowing me to give back and do the things to an institution that I love so much, but also to our nation as well. I'm grateful for my children, Chris and Jessica, and their spouses, Megan and Jamal. Wave, everybody, so they know who you are, okay? I really thank them because they gave me my 5 grandchildren that you saw up there. They've grown up to have great families. They are the epitome of unconditional love. We like to have fun, laugh, and take family vacations. They used to say, "Go Army," to get under my skin when they were little, and they almost didn't survive. We've grown closer over the years, and I'd like to thank them for being here. I also want to thank their mother, Karen, who raised them, particularly when I was traveling. My cousin, the Honorable Judge Kay Christian, and her husband, Ricky, and twin sister, Faye, and her husband, Mackie, are here. Their mother, my Aunt Alice, lived in Washington, D.C., so I had a home on weekends and good cooking. I wouldn't have made it through Annapolis without that respite. I failed miserably in teaching them statistics, as well as them trying to teach me fine social skills like dancing. You may not appreciate it now, but over time you'll realize how much the Academy has done for you. I encourage you to give back as soon as you can by attending local chapters, participating in class projects, and support shipmate articles, among other things. I'm honored to lead your U.S. Naval Academy Minority Association. It's a way for alumni to give back to our beloved institution. NAMA supports Dean Latta and admissions through STEM outreach and the Chief Diversity Officer, Captain Herb Lacey, with midshipman activities. NAMA does it all. They're out there not because it's feel good, they're out there trying to get the next students who are going to fill your spots. And we go into the schools and we teach STEM and we take young officers with them so that they have a vision for the future so that they can apply to this institution because it's important. When I'm no longer here, we want to make sure that the brigade is here, all the officers and things that are here because we need leadership in our country. And someone who gives back is Mr. Nelson Jones, who's one of our chief philanthropists here. He's out of the class of 72, but he has a passion and a heart for what we're doing. And so he may not go out on all the STEM programs and things like that, but he enables us to do the things that we do. I want you all to think about how you're going to give back to this institution. I know it's hard when you're going out there on active duty in your first assignment, but that is so hard. But I'm here today because of NAMA's hard work. They have full-time jobs, families, but work so hard on behalf of our Alumni Association. NAMA is planning our second leadership forum on April 28th and 29th, just in a few short weeks, and I invite you all to attend. To my NAMA family, I can't name you all, but thank you so much. I'm often asked by midshipmen, how did I get promoted to Admiral? I asked that myself. There's no simple answer. But as I look back at the components of my personal journey, it continues, and now I'll talk about those 3 F's in the R. Faith, family, and friends equals resilience. Faith, family, and friends equals resilience. Someone who epitomizes faith and resilience is distinguished graduate, Ms. Janie Mines, the first African-American woman to graduate from USNA in 1990. Come on, wave at me, Janie, wave. There you go. All right. In closing, I'd like to share my personal journey to Annapolis, which almost didn't happen. I vividly remember being an 18-year-old midshipman candidate when my father was diagnosed with cancer during my second semester at NAPS. He passed a few weeks before my NAPS graduation in May of 1973, and 6 weeks before my induction into the Naval Academy. And this next part will be difficult, but I want to share something with me because to show you that I can still relate. I might have this gray beard, but I relate to you in the brigade. What was I to do? Should I continue at the Naval Academy or go back home to Cleveland to help take care of my mother and my service-disabled uncle who lived with us? That's where faith, family, and friends and shipmates helped me to be resilient. Those early years as a plebe and youngster were a tough time. First, my mom, who was a great Christian woman, sacrificed and would have none of it and insisted that I stay in the Navy. She took a job cleaning other people's homes to support herself. Second, the Moore family, who lived across the street from us in Saywell, came to the rescue and looked after my mother and uncle for over 40 years until my mother passed. Ms. Benita Moore Bryant, who's here with us today, was a young girl at the time. She lived with my mother to help her overcome her loss. And that close relationship continues for 50 years as her daughter, Jessica, is here as well. Members of the Cordick family are here. They came from Cleveland. Mr. John Cordick, their father, became a father figure to me and kept my picture prominently displayed in his home office. I always wanted to make him proud. And lastly, our church provided encouragement and support to my family while I was away. They wrote letters and made sure that I wore my uniform when I came home. When things got tough, my mother reminded me of the Navy hymn to bolster my faith, perseverance, and resilience. She later told me she prayed and listened to the Navy hymn during my initial deployments at sea when I was on active duty. I encourage you to read the entire hymn as your homework assignment, as it has inspired me. I'll close by dedicating the first stanza to her, and I'm not going to sing like General Williams because I can't sing. But if you remember, please join me in reciting this first stanza as I dedicate it to her. Eternal Father, strong to save, whose arm has bound the restless wave, who bids the mighty ocean deep its own appointed limits keep. Oh, hear us when we cry to thee for those in peril on the sea. Thank you very much for this incredible Army. Go Navy.